John is going to be doing the next portion of the presentation. He's the Director of RFID Channel Development with Motorola. In North America, he handles all of the resellers who are selling RFID, and he's going to be doing a presentation on Motorola RFID and the ROI it presents.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and hey, a very impressive software that I just saw there with TracerPlus. It's amazing the nature of the complexity you can do with a nice and easy to use tool like that, and it's something that I think is going to be a very powerful tool for you as whether you're an integrator or an end user of the technology. What I want to talk a bit about today is just RFID. All right, we've got these nice tools. Where is the technology today? Where is it being used? And probably more importantly, where is it going? If you're embracing this technology, if you're new to it, or if you've been using it for a few years, I mean, you know that it has a very powerful capability that transforms some business processes, allows you to do some things that you really couldn't do or couldn't do effectively before. And it holds a lot of promise, and that promise is being delivered more and more each year with RFID. Just to give a little background, this is my 11th year in RFID, so I've been doing this for quite a while, and I've seen some of the evolution of the technology over the past decade, and it's very exciting now to see where this technology is taking us. So when you look at where UHF RFID fits in today, I mean, it is one of just many different flavors of data collection that are out there to you. Everything from barcodes all the way up to ultra wideband capabilities and everything in between. The reason UHF has been so popular is it really is the lowest cost technology that does a volume read, a bulk data capture, and allows you to grab a lot of different tags, a lot of different items, ID numbers, very, very quickly and effectively. I mean, we call it a faster way to count, and in that concept, it really is. And even compared to some of the other RFID flavors that are out there, HF, LF, etc., it really gives you still the best bang for the buck. But all the technologies shown here have their place. So when you factor in the range and performance versus cost, as you see on this chart, you also need to factor in a lot of the things we have over there on the left-hand side, as far as environmental issues, data capacity, whether you can use it in your geographies or not. So there's a lot of different things that you play together when you put a system together like this. But really, UHF is grabbing the bulk of the market share for RFID for the very reasons we just talked about. It's very effective, long range, high volume of tags. You can read now hundreds to thousands of tags in a second that you just can't do with anything else. So when you look at the recent trends that RFID has shown, as I said, I've been doing this for a while, and the questions I used to get were, how does it work? How do I know it's going to read everything? What are the physics of this? I really don't understand. How am I sure? All those questions seem to be going away. More and more as I talk to different people in the industry and customers, even people looking at it for the first time, I understand RFID, I've heard about it, I trust the technology. Now, how does it solve my problem? How do I get a good return on investment? How do I improve my business process because of it? And those are really the questions that are great to get, because it's showing that we're moving past that technology hurdle, and people are accepting it and moving forward and seeing it as a tool, and then want to know how that tool works. I think the other big thing that's helped is the tag prices have certainly dropped. When I started in this business here 10 years ago, the mantra was, hey, if we can get RFID tags underneath $1, that'll be exciting. I mean, now it's obviously much well under $1. It's in many cases under 10 cents in volumes for peel and stick labels and such. So they really have come down to a point where people are not counting the pennies so much anymore as far as when looking at their system and how much it's going to cost to implement it. It really gets to be where it's a moot point. The fact that all that is happening is having our retail customers start to embrace this technology. So you've probably heard that Walmart and American Apparel and Macy's and JCPenney and all these different companies, the Gap, all of them come together and say, hey, we're implementing or soon plan to be implementing RFID in a very short time. Certainly that's just one segment of the market, and there's many other industries which we'll talk about. But as we saw with barcodes, when the retailers adopt it, it becomes a much more pervasive technology. It bleeds back to their suppliers, and we bleed it back to transportation companies, and et cetera, it goes down the chain. So the fact that we are seeing this retail adoption happening is just great for the industry and for anybody who wants to adopt the technology. Usability continues to improve, both on the software. We just saw some great usability in the TracerPlus software platform. Also in the hardware platforms, new form factors of readers are coming out, handhelds with more capacity. Everything is easier to use right out of the box. And then finally, the stability in the market, where there was a lot of smaller companies kind of jockeying for position, and people were in 1 week and then they were out in 1 week, and et cetera, and who you really didn't know who to bank on. We're seeing a lot of stability. The players who are in the market now, for the most part, are going to be remaining around for a while. There's still a couple guys that might fall out before the end of the game, but when you look around and see who's out there now and who's doing the business, everybody's finding their niche. I've decided I'm going to be a tag guy. I'm going to be a software guy. I'm going to be a hardware guy, whatever the case may be. And you can put together a very solid system that you can bank on is going to be around for a while. So I think these are all great trends in the industry showing that RFID is evolving the right way, and it is growing into a very stable platform that companies can build solutions around. And where are they building these solutions? Where are we seeing the traction? Well, obviously a lot of different verticals across the top, retail, CPG firms, manufacturing, et cetera. But to me, even more importantly, is that we're seeing very repeatable applications that transform across the different verticals that are gaining hold. Whether it's item-level visibility, which is tagging every asset they have in inventory. We'll talk about that here in a second on the retail side. Supply chain management, which is multiple companies trading product back and forth. So if you're a supplier to the DoD and the DoD is requiring RFID, you have to do that and et cetera, carry it down the chain. Asset tracking is probably the biggest thing across many different markets, just keeping track of all the assets. It's just taking me so long and too time-consuming for me to do otherwise. File tracking, process automation, tracking data assets in an IT data center, blade servers, routers, tapes, work in process, people tracking, and in many cases where I want to know where people are coming and going to. So these are just some of the areas that we're seeing adoption being very strong with RFID. We're going to look at just a couple of these in detail. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you know, I mentioned the retail mindset that these retailers are seeing, and really they've got a very real problem that they're trying to deal with. One is that they've got tens of thousands of items in a department store, and to take a daily inventory, let alone a weekly or monthly inventory, it's just too time-consuming. Even with barcode scanners to go find pull out every pair of jeans, scan and shove it back in the rack, and to scan every blouse on the rack and every pair of socks, etc. It's just too time-consuming, so they don't do it. And the problem is that their inventory gets out of skew quite dramatically. As you can see there, 30 to 85% inventory accuracy. So what's happening is they're having out-of-stock situations. You come into the store, you're looking for the size 36 jeans, you got 32s, you got 34s, no 36s, you got 38. So you end up not getting that sale because the inventory that you were looking for, the inventory that you were trying to sell to them, is not in the right place at the right time. That's costing them a lot of money. And so if they get a better inventory accuracy on their shelves, they can lead to more incremental sales. And so that's what RFID is giving them. By just taking an RFID handheld scanner like you see here, they can get inventory accuracy up to 99%, do it on a daily basis, get an idea of what they have on the shelves, what they don't. And the bottom line is it reduces the out-of-stocks, as you can see, 60-80%. And bottom line is increasing sales from 4 to 20+%. And that's based on very real-world studies that we've seen. So there's an ROI right there as far as, if I can sell X million more of revenue because I have the right items on the right place at the right time, I can justify the cost of an RFID system, and I don't care what the tax cost at that point. So that's the model that we're seeing. And when you carry that over, manufacturing has really the exact same applications where if I have multiple components that go into the building of an airplane or an automobile or a toaster oven, and I don't have the components where I need them at the right time at the right place, I've got to shut my line down. That costs me a lot of money. So there's a lot of interest in work in process, just-in-time processes, making sure your on-hand inventory is accurate, et cetera. And you can see some of the quotes there from different customers as far as how they reduce their costs in tracking tools or components that go into a manufacturing process. So this item-level, fast way of counting methodology is not just for retail. It really applies to other industries as well. Another one we're seeing a lot of traction on is healthcare. This is an asset tracking application, but as you can see from some of the issues there, 10 to 20% of all their mobile assets are lost or stolen each year. That's a lot of money. I mean, I've got wheelchairs, I've got beds, I've got crash carts, I've got IV pumps, and they're all just disappearing because they move all over the place. They overspare to compensate that, so they're spending 30% of their cost is incremental surplus components just to make sure they've got everything on the right time. And they're even tracking people. They're losing people in the hospitals that they shouldn't be losing track of. So a lot of ways that RFID, same way, I can go into a stock room like you see the picture here, take an inventory very, very quickly. Imagine counting all those little packets by hand, or even with a barcode scanner. It would take you an hour just to do the little bit we see there. With RFID, we can do that in a matter of seconds. It allows them to take inventory very, very quickly, very, very accurately, and then compare that to what they should have and make their reordering decisions very intelligently. Same type of thing, exact same application, but in energy. So completely different when you look at it from an industry vertical. We're going from syringes to pipes, but the same type of thing. I've got a drill rig. I've got a piece of pipe 2.5 miles down, and if I don't have the right piece of pipe to put on there, or the right flange, or the right this, or the right that, I got to shut my operation down. And as one guy told me, hey, FedEx doesn't deliver to the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. I might have to shut my rig down for 2 days until I can airlift something out there to me. And at $2 million a day, that's bad. I mean, I don't want to be shutting down my $2 million a day rig because I don't have the right piece of pipe at the right place at the right time. So asset tracking, inventory tracking, really just transcending a lot of different industries here. So that is the power that this technology is bringing, and that's really where we are today, is showing this. So when you think about where RFID is today, it's solving very real-world problems and just doing kind of the same things, just being able to count things a little bit more effectively and watching where they go. But it allows you to get much greater visibility into where your assets are, control over your inventory assets, and better control of your process operations with the way the technology is today. So where is it going in the next few years? Well, no guarantees on this. I'm going to share with you a couple things, not really anything, as far as super secret Motorola deep dark projects we're working on, but just some general trends in the industry that we're seeing that we think the direction is going to go, and to give you an idea of where the technology is headed. So the first is around location and directionality. Directionality being, I can see it in the doorway, but I want to make sure is it going in or going out of that doorway. Now, there's a lot of ways of doing that today, kind of fudging the system a little bit with sensors or with antenna placements and things like that. But we want to make sure that we can make it a little bit more solid state. There's some things that people have played with, but nothing is really rock solid as far as getting that in a crystal accuracy. So there's a lot of things going on as far as algorithms, as far as being able to detect that and detect the strength of signal values and some secret sauce and putting all that together. Likewise, locationing is, we get locationing now because I know where the portal is if it's going through a portal. All right, well, he just passed through door 17, that's fine, but what happens after he passes door 17? Or I've got a handheld that says, all right, I'm in rack 12, row 1, and I know at that moment that's where that thing is, but again, that's just a snapshot in time. So what we're going to see is more focus on directionality and locationing, and allowing you to get a very real-time sense of where things are and how they are moving. And that kind of leads to the second one, what we call the zero human intervention systems, which is basically, if you think about ultimately what do you want an RFID system to do, well, the ultimate promise, as it says there, is you want continuous widespread data acquisition. Basically, I want to know where everything in this room is, and I want it to know now, and I want to achieve this without having to go with a handheld and walk around and take an inventory. And I want it to be done at a reasonable price point. And right now, you can kind of get 2 out of 3. I mean, if you can go to an active tag RTLS system, you can get, for the most part, continuous widespread data acquisition without human intervention. But the tag point, the price point is rather exorbitant. The tags are anywhere from 30 to 40, 50 bucks a piece. I'm not going to put that on every little thing that I've got, just too time expensive consuming. I got battery issues that are there, so that doesn't give it to you. Passive RFID says, hey, I can give you inexpensive, because tags are just a few pennies. I can do it without human intervention because I got portals I can set up, but that doesn't give me continuous widespread data acquisition. I can't see everything in the room simultaneously. So there are a lot of different ways of getting and doing this, or being called RTIS systems, real-time information systems, basically taking passive technology and getting a total floor footprint view. Either through a one big master antenna, which is, there's some systems out there that are starting to do that now, or through some type of distributed antenna network, kind of a matrix, if you will, of antennas, very low-cost antennas, to portable antennas that can operate over a Wi-Fi network and then just plug into a wall outlet. They give you very zonal coverage. A lot of different models that are coming together on this. Which one's going to win out at the end of the day, don't know, but we're playing with some different ones, and certainly we could see that within the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see the ability to put passive tags, very low-cost tags, and be able to read everything on a shelf in a room in a warehouse with some type of footprint setup like this. Rise of battery-assisted tags. If you're not familiar with battery-assisted or BAP tags, they are passive tags. They're not active tags. Where an active tag, the tag talks first and beacons. It says, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. A passive tag, of course, is a reader talks first environment where the reader talks and the tag responds. In this case, the reader talks, the tag responds, but when it responds, it has a boosted signal because it's got a battery on it, so it can make it go a longer distance. So there's some early BAP tags that have been proven out in the market today, which are really great. The downside, obviously, is that you have a price difference, of a couple dollars, so you have to be pick and choose. But I think the real intricacy of this is that when I put on a battery on that tag, I can use that battery for other things, such as a temperature sensor or a humidity sensor, et cetera, and I can take regular readings and record that on those higher data value tags that we were talking about earlier. So with a battery-assisted passive technology, you're using your exact same reader infrastructure that you use today for passive, but I'm allowing to get more of a signal strength back and potentially more data that I'm recording. And it's not just the ID data, but it's not only what is the tag, where is it, but how does it feel? Is it hot? Is it cold? Was it a crate of strawberries that drove from California to New York, and the guy left the door open in the middle of Kansas in July, and the temperature got up to 80 degrees in there? And that's bad. We would want to know that if I'm receiving those strawberries. So a lot of different things you can do with battery-assisted passive tags, and we're seeing an increase in use of those. Improvements in range and performance. So even outside of what we're seeing with the BAP tags, we're already seeing, I think, most of the RFID tag chip vendors are on their third or fourth generations of tags, and we've seen tremendous sensitivity increases and performance increases in these tags over the last few years. Again, dating myself, but going back a few years, I mean, if we could read a tag, first of all, you couldn't read tags on metal or anything like that, but now there are metal mount tags that allow you to do that. The sensitivity on them, where if I could read 100 tags in a box within a couple seconds, that was a big deal. Now we can read 800, 900 tags in a second or two in a box, and because the tags are just that much more sensitive. And also the innovation in the readers themselves, new antenna designs that are much more sensitive, improved decode algorithms, just a lot of different things that we're putting in, and our competitors surely are putting into their readers as far as making them more sensitive. So the whole system, as it bears out and it have more use cases, and we go generation after generation, we're able to double the read distance, double the speeds, and we're able to get more and more improvements to just make it where, this is why some of those physics issues, those questions just aren't coming up anymore, because the tags are reading that much better with the new readers that are out there. I think the last one I have here is integration with wireless infrastructure. Wi-Fi is out there. It's pervasive amongst most customers. They have Wi-Fi systems set up already. But the readers, as it says here, over time the readers will expand while the density of the Wi-Fi infrastructure remains the same. So if we can integrate those two together, what does that do for us? Allows you to have an RFID, or excuse me, a wireless access point that maybe acts as an RFID reader as well. Maybe the two are built into one. I mean, this is great for Motorola. We obviously make both Wi-Fi systems and RFID readers, so it's very easy for us to adapt them. We've already got some preliminary designs where we've integrated locationing into our wireless switch manager to account for both the RTLS and passive systems to be reporting on the same reporting structure. So the ability to merge these two wireless systems together and be able to tap into an existing infrastructure that's already there will be able to bring the cost down and performance up different systems. So looking for that over the next few years as well. So that just gives an idea a little bit of where we're seeing the market go, trying to give you a hands-on on the directions that we're seeing that customers are coming to us. They're saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if? I don't want you to get caught up too much in that. That is futuristic. It's 3 to 5 years out, and as I said, no guarantees of what's going to come out of there. But returning it back to the here and now, I have to do my obligatory 30-second commercial here on Motorola, and just to give you an idea of what we've got going. If you're not familiar with our products, we've got the broadest set of RFID readers on the marketplace. We actually have two different lines. We have an industrial line and a business line. The industrial, very durable type devices, warehouse manufacturing, shop floor. Business class is carpeted space, retail, healthcare types environments, smaller form factors, et cetera. So we've got the right reader that fits what you're looking for, and certainly the performances have been regarded as the best, and that's why we do get the most industry recognition. We've been rated the number 1 provider of fixed and handheld readers by API. I believe we have over 50% market share now in UHF passive readers. RFID Journal just rated us the top brand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're looking for RFID systems to implement, we certainly would love to have you look at us. If you're looking for software, I think that the TracerPlus stuff that you just saw is a tremendous application platform to build very powerful but quick and effective applications without having to hire professional programmers. So we thank you very much for your time today.
John, thanks so much for an excellent job and some great information. And thanks again to our users for all the great feedback on the software. Without you guys, we wouldn't be putting this stuff in place. And everybody enjoy the rest of the week.